Welcome back to the deep dive. This time we're going way back in time with Neanderthals Spirit Berries, A Path to Peace.
Oh, yeah.
It's historical fiction,
Yeah.
but with a really powerful message, for today.
It is, yeah. You hit the nail on the head. I mean, the setting is a world where Homo sapiens and Neanderthals are sharing the earth.
Right.
And it explores those initial tensions, those clashes. But I think what's so compelling is that it goes beyond that.
Yeah.
It explores this potential for peace.
Right. And just from the excerpts that we have, the preface, the intro, and some key chapters,
Right.
it seems like the author is using this fictional setting to really urge us towards greater empathy and peace building
Absolutely.
in our own time.
Yeah, and the preface sets the stage for all of this by challenging those old caveman stereotypes about Neanderthals.
Oh, yeah.
It really emphasizes how our understanding of them has evolved, their complex societies, skills, and even those genetic links we share.
Right.
It reminds us that there's always more to learn about the past and to avoid making assumptions.
So it sounds like the book is trying to do more than just tell a story.
Yeah.
It's also trying to change how we think about history and even ourselves.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Now, the introduction dives right into the story, painting this really vivid picture of these two distinct human species meeting in a world that's just emerging from an ice age.
Right.
You've got Homo sapiens driven by curiosity, pushing into new territories, and then the Neanderthals, strong and adapted to those harsh environments.
It sounds like, a classic Clash of Civilizations setup.
It is.
But in prehistoric times.
It is.
Yeah.
And those initial encounters are just full of this wariness and suspicion
Yeah.
with the potential for both conflict and connection, which I think makes you think about how first impressions can shape our interactions with those who are different from us.
And how fear of the unknown can lead to conflict.
Precisely. Chapter 1 throws us right into the action.
Okay.
With a tense standoff over bison hunt. Both sides are ready to fight, but then this young Homo sapien, does something completely unexpected.
Oh.
He offers to share the bison with the Neanderthals.
Wow. Talk about taking a risk.
It is.
Especially in a world where resources are scarce. That's a pretty bold move.
It is, and it highlights Rhee's character. He's not just a skilled hunter.
Right.
He's someone who sees beyond the immediate conflict.
Right.
Understands that value of cooperation.
It makes you wonder,
Yeah.
could sharing resources have been key to survival back then?
It's an intriguing idea,
Yeah.
but peace is short-lived, as we see in Chapter 2. It plunges us back into the conflict.
Okay.
The Nayants, as they call themselves, face a series of kidnappings by the Chromas. That's the book's term for Homo sapiens.
So this is where the tension really ratchets up.
It does.
And it seems like the Neands are forced to make a tough choice.
Right?
Pursue the kidnappers or peck those who remain.
Right.
I mean, it's a dilemma with potentially devastating consequences.
Yeah,
And it really highlights the brutal realities of their world.
it does. So what do they decide? Chapter 3 answers that
Okay.
they choose to attempt a daring rescue.
Okay.
And this chapter really showcases their bravery and a fierce loyalty to their own.
Yeah.
But they're up against a tough opponent. The Chromas have superior numbers and those ranged weapons that give them that tactical edge.
Sounds like a David and Goliath situation.
It really does, and it emphasizes those strategic challenges facing the Neands.
Yeah.
How can a group overcome those disadvantages and achieve those goals when you're facing a more powerful adversary?
It makes you root for the underdog.
Yeah.
Now, chapter 4 shifts the perspective
Yeah.
to Rye,
Right.
the Homo sapien, who offered to share the bison earlier.
Right.
So this shift in perspective, it seems pretty key.
It is, because we see Rye not just as a skilled hunter and leader,
Yeah.
but also as someone who's beginning to question the assumptions of his tribe.
So he's not just a brave warrior.
Yeah.
He's also a thoughtful one.
Exactly. And in Chapter 5, fate intervenes. Rhee spots Aura, a neat woman, gathering berries.
Go.
And he's immediately fascinated,
Interesting.
drawn to her grace and the mystery that she represents.
Okay, so this is where the romance starts to develop.
It does.
No.
This encounter is charged with symbolism.
Yeah.
It's a meeting of two worlds.
Right.
Two individuals who embody that potential for connection despite their differences.
It sounds like the author is setting up Rhee and Aura to be symbols of hope for reconciliation
Precisely.
between their tribes.
Yeah, and Chapter 6 throws them together in a life-or-death situation.
Oh, no!
A lion attack.
Oh, my God.
It's this classic plot device that forces characters to act and reveal their true nature.
Right.
So Rhee risks his life to save Aura,
Right.
getting badly injured in the process.
Oh, wow.
Aura steps in, uses her healing skills to save Ree,
Okay.
and it just further solidifies their connection.
Right.
It establishes the sense of reciprocity and really deepens the trust between them, taking their relationship beyond just that fleeting attraction.
Yeah, it sounds intense.
It is.
But this act of heroism, it really is crucial, I think, to overcoming those barriers between their tribes.
Absolutely.
And it really lays the foundation for a relationship based on mutual respect and admiration, which is strong for any relationship,
Yeah,
but especially one that has to bridge such a huge cultural divide.
totally.
Yeah.
And that brings us to chapter 7,
Okay.
where we're introduced to the spirit berries.
Okay, so these berries must be pretty special.
They are.
What's the deal with them?
Well, they're more than just a plot device.
Okay,
They symbolize the potential for peace and understanding.
got it.
And they have these healing properties, both physically and metaphorically.
Interesting.
So Aura uses the spirit berries to treat Ree's wounds.
Okay.
And as he recovers in the neat cave, he observes their way of life, their social structure, and their care for the vulnerable.
So it sounds like he's starting to see the world through their eyes, which is crucial to building empathy and understanding.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's during this time that Ree begins to see the possibility of combining the strengths of both tribes.
Interesting.
He realizes that they have much to learn from each other.
Right.
And that cooperation could lead to a better future for both.
It's interesting how the author uses the spirit berries as a symbol of that potential
Right.
for healing and unity.
Yeah.
Almost like they're a tangible representation of the book's message.
Precisely. And then in chapter 9, Ree asks Aura to join him, recognizing that their connection transcends these tribal lines.
Wow.
It's a bold declaration that love and shared values are more important than these long-held tribal loyalties.
It's a powerful moment that really underscored the book's theme of bridging differences
It does.
through love and compassion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They decide to return to Ree's tribe, taking the spirit berries with them, hoping they might ease her acceptance.
It sounds like they're really taking a leap of faith,
They are.
hoping that love will conquer all.
They are.
And that sets the stage for chapter 10, which is
Yeah.
all about navigating that new territory.
It is. So we left off with Ree and Aura embarking on that journey back to his tribe, the Chromas, with the hope of integrating Aura into their society.
Right, and bringing those mysterious spirit berries with them, hoping that they might, smooth the way.
Right.
What happens when they arrive?
Well, chapter 10 really highlights those complexities of integration.
Okay.
There's wary curiosity from some of the Chromas, subtle tension from others.
Yeah.
These tribes have been at odds for generations.
So there's that historical baggage they have to overcome.
Exactly. But overall, Aura is accepted.
Okay.
And the spirit berries definitely play a role in easing that transition.
Yeah.
They kind of offer the Chromas this taste of peace, a glimpse of what's possible if they're open to something new.
It's almost like those berries are a form of diplomacy, a way to break down those barriers and create common ground.
That's a great way to put it. It's not just about acceptance.
Right.
It's about building trust and understanding. And as Aura settles in with the Chromas, she starts sharing her knowledge, especially her skills as a healer.
So she's actively contributing to the tribe,
Yeah.
which probably helps to solidify her place among them.
Absolutely. But as you can imagine, not everyone is thrilled about this new dynamic.
Okay.
Chapter 12 introduces Lena, Ree's former companion,
Okay.
and she's clearly threatened by Aura's presence.
Sounds like we have a classic love triangle brewing.
On the surface, yes.
Okay.
But it's also about more than just romantic rivalry.
Right.
Lena represents that resistance to change, that fear of the unknown.
Yeah.
Her jealousy really highlights those social dynamics at play when a society is faced with integrating someone from a completely different culture.
Makes you think about how change can be unsettling, even if it's ultimately for the better.
Right.
Cool.
The author really cleverly uses this dance rivalry between Aura and Lena to explore that tension.
Right.
Ree's choice is clear, but the story doesn't shy away from those messy realities of social change. It's a reminder that progress isn't always a smooth path.
So it's not just a love story. It's a story about the challenges and the triumphs of integration.
Exactly.
What happens next?
Well, chapter 13 brings us back to Rhea and Aura's mission.
Okay.
They want to unite their tribes for mutual benefit, especially when it comes to facing common enemies.
Okay.
And they believe those spirit berries are a key part of their plan.
So they're not just thinking about their own happiness.
Right.
They're thinking about the well-being of both tribes.
Exactly. They're visionaries in a way.
Yeah.
seeing this future where cooperation replaces conflict.
Right.
And they understand to achieve that, they need to bridge the gap between the chromas and the neats.
It's a pretty ambitious goal, especially given that history of animosity.
Definitely. But Ree and Aura are determined. In chapter 14, Aura returns to her tribe, carefully planting those seeds of reconciliation.
Okay.
Now, the elders are initially resistant, which isn't surprising.
Right.
They represent those old ways of thinking, that deeply ingrained mistrust of the chromas.
So it's like they're carrying the weight of generations of conflict on their shoulders.
Exactly. But despite that resistance, Aura remains hopeful.
Okay.
She believes that with patience and understanding, change is possible.
It takes a lot of courage to challenge those long-held beliefs.
It does.
So while this is going on, what's happening with Ree and the chromas?
Well, chapter 15 throws this kind of curveball into the mix.
Okay.
We see internal conflict brewing within the Chroma tribe.
Okay.
Two warriors, resistant to Ree's leadership and his calls for shared responsibility, plot to overthrow him.
So not everyone is on board with his vision for peace and cooperation.
Sadly, no.
Yeah.
And this subplot really emphasizes how fragile unity can be.
Right.
It highlights the dangers of clinging to old ways of thinking,
Yeah.
resisting the changes necessary for survival.
It's a reminder that even when you have, two people who are deeply committed to peace, like Ree and Aura,
Right.
there are always going to be those who oppose their vision.
Exactly. And the ensuing tragedy, without giving too much away,
Yeah.
really pushes the tribe towards recognizing the cost of their divisions.
It's a sad but often true reality
It is.
that sometimes it takes a crisis to bring about real change.
Yeah,
So after all this, do the neats and the chromas finally come together?
they do. And that brings us to this much anticipated meeting in chapter 16.
Okay.
You can feel that palpable tension as they gather, but then something magical happens. They share the spirit berries.
So those berries act as a catalyst for that peace and understanding.
Exactly.
Right.
And that initial awkwardness just melts away, replaced by open communication, an exchange of gifts, and a genuine sense of hope for the future.
Yeah.
It's this beautifully written scene that captures the transformative power of shared experience and the fragile beginnings of peace.
It sounds like a powerful moment of reconciliation.
It is.
But is that the end of the story?
Well,
Do they all live happily ever after?
chapter 17 reminds us that peace is a journey, not a destination.
So there are more challenges ahead.
Unfortunately, yes.
Perfect.
There's an accidental death during a hunt.
Oh.
And it threatens to reignite those old tensions and prejudices.
So it really makes you realize how easily peace can be shattered.
It does.
How do they overcome this?
It's Aura who steps up,
Okay.
advocating for forgiveness and recognizing the danger of falling back into old patterns of blame and revenge.
Right.
Her leadership is crucial here.
Yeah.
She embodies the values of this new united tribe.
Right.
And her willingness to forgive is a testament to that transformative power of the spirit berries.
It sounds like she's become this symbol of peace and reconciliation for both tribes.
Exactly. But the challenges don't stop there.
Okay.
In chapter 18, we see another threat emerge, this time from a neighboring Chroma clan that's hostile to this newfound union.
So even though the Neans and the Chromas have found a way to coexist,
Yes.
they're still facing opposition from those outside their union.
Exactly. It underscores this idea that peace is not just about resolving internal conflicts.
Right.
It's also about navigating a world where others might not share that vision.
It's a reminder that building a more peaceful world is an ongoing effort, a continuous process of overcoming obstacles and promoting understanding.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And once again, Aura steps up, urging forgiveness and proposing this daring plan to showcase the power of peace.
Okay.
It's a risky strategy, but it speaks to the heart of the book's message, which is that choosing peace, even in the face of adversity, can be the most powerful act of all.
Right.
So we'll delve into how that plays out and the ripple effect it creates. So we left off with Aura proposing this really daring plan to, showcase the power of peace to this hostile Chroma clan.
Right. What happens next?
So this is where the story takes a hopeful turn. In chapter 19, we meet Gon,
Okay.
and he's a leader from that hostile Chroma clan, and he's captured during their attack.
Okay.
Now, instead of retaliating,
Yeah.
Aura and Ree decide to treat him with kindness and respect.
So they're really putting their faith in the power of empathy to kind of change his heart.
Exactly. And, Gon is exposed to this different way of life.
Yeah.
A society where Neanderthals and Homo sapiens coexist peacefully.
Right.
He sees those benefits of cooperation,
Right.
that strength that comes from unity.
Right.
And those spirit berries play a role here too.
Okay.
You know, they offer this glimpse of the harmony that they represent.
It's fascinating how the author uses Gon's transformation to show how peace can have this ripple effect.
Yeah.
It's not just about changing one person's mind.
Right.
It's about how that change can spread outward
Yeah.
and influence others.
Precisely. Gon returns to his clan advocating for peace,
Okay.
inspiring others to question their prejudices.
Wow.
His words plant these seeds of doubt about those old ways of thinking
Yeah.
that ingrain hostility toward the Neans.
So he becomes like an ambassador for peace,
He does.
bringing the message back to his own people.
Exactly. And it all culminates in chapter 20, which is this pivotal moment
Okay.
where elders from various Chroma clans gather to discuss the possibility of joining this peaceful union.
So we're seeing a potential shift in power dynamics.
Yeah,
A move away from that ingrained tribalism towards a more inclusive society.
absolutely. This meeting marks a turning point.
Okay.
The spirit berries become the symbol of this transformative reconciliation,
Yeah.
representing the hope for a future where different groups can come together and thrive.
It's a powerful ending to the story.
It is.
It leaves you feeling optimistic, about the possibility of peace, even in a world that's often driven by conflict and division.
It does, but in the epilogue, the authors remind us that this is a work of fiction.
Right.
It's an imagined past, a what-if scenario.
So they're acknowledging that reality might not always be so idealistic.
Exactly. They're not presenting this as a historical fact,
Right.
but rather as this thought experiment,
Yeah.
a way to challenge our assumptions about what's possible.
Right.
And while they acknowledge that, real-world reconciliation might not be as simple or
Right.
straightforward, they emphasize that this message of seeking peace is just crucial,
Right.
especially in our own times.
It's like they're saying, hey, we know this is a fictional story,
Right.
but the message is real. We can choose to build a more peaceful world if we're willing to put in the effort.
Exactly. And they leave us with that lingering question. What are our spirit berries?
Yeah. What are those things in our lives?
Yeah, what are those things that have the power to bridge those divides in our own lives and communities?
It's a powerful question, and one that I think each listener will have to answer for themselves.
Yeah.
I think for me, it's about those moments of genuine connection, those acts of kindness and empathy that remind us of our shared humanity.
Beautifully said. It's a reminder that peace isn't just this abstract concept.
Right.
It's something that we actively create through our choices and actions every day.
Well, I think this deep dive into Neanderthal Spirit Berries, a path to peace, has given us a lot to think about.
It has.
It's a story that's both captivating and thought-provoking, urging us to look beyond our differences and imagine a world where peace is not just a dream, but a living reality.
It's a story that stays with you
It does.
long after you finish reading it.
Yeah.
And hopefully it inspires us all to find our own spirit berries and contribute to building a more peaceful and harmonious future.
Thank you for joining us on this journey back in time.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
We hope this deep dive has sparked some ideas and inspired you to seek out your own paths to peace.
Absolutely.
Until next time, keep exploring.